Hi everyone, welcome again to Chaiwala Show. In this opportunity, we have a special guest. His name is Avaan, and if you can see, he's not from India.
I just look like it.
Yeah, hi Avaan, introduce yourself.
Thank you for having me. Hi everybody, my name is Avaan. I am South African. As you can see from my South African jersey, I am from the southern tip of Africa. And in fact, I am from the same place that Shaka Zulu comes from.
Nice.
Great to meet you.
So Avaan, how was this decision to come to Canada? Was it difficult? Was just something that you had to do?
Oh man, it's such a long story. In 2013, I came to Canada for work.
Really?
Yeah, I came to Toronto for training. And when I came to this place, I fell in love with it. I never knew somewhere could be so, amazing. Mm-hmm. So I stayed here for a week and I went back and I took the stories back to my family. 11 years later, I moved here. It was always on my mind. So 11 years later, I had a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity and now I'm here.
How was this switch in your life?
South Africa is like a difficult place to live. There's so many challenges and things. So life in South Africa it's not so organized. Mm-hmm. It's not complicated to do anything. But the switch coming to Canada, everything works better. Everything, is public transport, safe, good schools. We don't pay anything for school. It's good for my kids. But South Africa is cheaper to live and the food is good. Mm-hmm. But it's definitely an improvement, upgrade coming to Canada.
Tell me a little bit about your background. What were you doing in South Africa before coming?
So I studied electronic engineering. Mm-hmm. I had work and I come from a tough background. So I worked full time and I studied at night for like 2 decades. And I put myself through college and university. I studied business and I finished in the top 5% of Africa, on the African continent. So I graduated with distinction there. And then I just continued because I was so in the groove of working and studying. It's what I did. And so I did a whole lot of certifications: project management professional, lead Six Sigma black belt, certified in cybersecurity. I just kept on adding. And then in 2023, I had a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to come to Canada. So I seized the opportunity and I moved there with my family in April 2024. I did a one-year course in global business management at Conestoga College. Graduated top of my class with distinction.
Nice.
And I heard about the Sales Lab program. Mm-hmm. And so I met you, Nelson, at the Sales Lab program. So thank you for mentioning it. Yeah. And so, the Sales Lab program is life-changing. Finished the program, and while in the program, I secured 2 jobs. One of them working now, and soon moving to Calgary. And that's the story.
Bro, congratulations, my friend. So I wouldn't say this is luck. I just met this guy like 2 months ago. I was impressed at the first time I met him because he was the first person who could close a deal. I mean, it was like a training stuff.
Actually.
But nobody ever did it before him. So I was really impressed by that achievement. Now I know that you already got 2 jobs actually by just applying. And I wouldn't say that's luck. You got a purpose in your life. You are focused on that, and that's something that it's valuable. Tell me a little bit about how was this process to get 2 jobs when most people are struggling to get just one.
So, I probably applied. I finished in December 13th. Yeah. So since 2nd of Jan, my wife went back to work. I literally started applying for jobs 8 hours a day. It was a full-time thing. I must have applied for 300 or 400 jobs and I had nothing back. I mean, I just automated email, responses and that sort of thing. First, and it's like it gets you to a dark, sad place. You have to doubt yourself. I thought I wasted my life, I'll never get a job. I got to go back home because I did a 1-year course. I only have a 1-year work permit. So if I have to go back home, I got to go back home like soon.
Right.
So then we did in the Sales Lab, we did something very important called 10 sentences about your life. So what this does is that, what it did for me was that it forces you now, first of all, 10 sentences about your entire life. It's very hard. It's nearly impossible to do.
Right.
It becomes 10 paragraphs, like you said. So after refining it a couple of times, you touch on emotions and nerves that, for me personally, I haven't looked at in years. Things that I forgot about. So I did one round of it, 10 sentences about my life. I came back the next week. When I ran through the second time, I actually got emotional. Like I got like physically emotional doing this, because I touched on things of like in my life, of things that I was so ashamed about. I mean, like when I finished school, I was kicked out of university in 6 months because I was, like embarrassing things, I mean, I made it an accident when I was like in grade 6. I nearly lost my entire family and myself. I have a scar on my hand where the bone popped out. It's like these things emotions I never touched on. Anyway, so I did these sentences, and then from there you learn about yourself.
Right.
And then the difference that happened to me was that I stopped trying to express what I thought everybody wanted to hear, and I started to, in my cover letter, in my email, and when I spoke to people, I started actually just being myself. And that's when everything changed. I'm not exaggerating when I tell you, out of every maybe 10 jobs I applied for, I would hear back from at least one. Because there was a lady I applied for a job as I'm also being an engineer, helped.
Yeah.
I applied for a job as a product engineer at a company in Vancouver. Mm-hmm. I messaged the lady on LinkedIn, the recruiter, which was director of the company. Same story about my life, who I am. And she got back to me saying that, look, she loves the story, she'd like to interview me. That was one of the interviews I had, just by being authentic. Yes. Not even talking about what I can do for them, just being authentic.
Will you repeat your pitch on your story?
Okay.
The one that you use for your cover letter?
All right, okay. So I try and start with this.
Okay.
But I usually say something like, here's my story.
Yeah.
It's not exactly scripted, but it's natural.
Yeah.
But it's based on the 10 stories of my life.
Of course.
So, hi, my name is Avaan. I'm from South Africa. One of the most beautiful, but also one of the most difficult places in the world. In my background, I have had to fight for everything, and I had to overcome objectives, overcome difficulties in my path from the time I've been a child. So, in my life, let me start again. Okay.
So you got this.
Okay. So this is what I'd say. Okay. I'd say, hi, my name is Avaan. I'm from South Africa. One of the most beautiful, but also one of the most difficult places in the world. My whole life, I have had to fight to overcome the obstacles placed in front of me. So that made me resilient, determined, and driven. As I progressed through my life and as I grew, I realized that I had to apply my mind and apply the natural gifts that I was blessed with. So I worked full time and I studied at night, something that I've done for the past 20 years. While it was challenging, it gave me the best lessons of my life. It taught me grit. I ended up qualifying as an engineer, and I finished a master's degree in business administration, where I graduated top of my class and in the top 5% in Africa. I continued on the same path, and I got a one-time opportunity to come to Canada to give my family a better life. I seized it, and now I'm here with my wife and kids, fighting hard still to give my kids opportunities that I would never have. And that's what I said.
Awesome, man. Yeah, you're hired.
It's authentic. I mean, it's like,
yeah,
it's authentic. It's and it's the truth. It's the truth as well. You can sort of feel when somebody's being truthful. So it's truthful.
It actually is. I did the same exercise. I found it like catharsis, as we talk.
Catharsis, yeah.
And yes, it's very introspective.
Oh yeah.
You find some things that you actually forgot, right?
So true.
Yeah, it was amazing.
So true. Yeah.
So, what are the main challenges that you had to face here in Canada?
So, I mean, like yourself, Nelson, I mean, when I had to come here, we had to essentially, my family and I had to flatten our life. I mean, sold our house, our cars. I mean, I gave my dogs away. Like, I had 2 little mini pins. I gave those dogs away on the 2nd of March, 2024. So it's like, pulled my kids out of school. It's the amount of sacrifices that we made to get here. Like yourself, I mean, like a lot of immigrants, the amount of sacrifices that we made are like unreal, unbelievable. But I mean, I always said, my wife and I always said, it's like South Africa is so difficult in so many ways that it's either we leave for a better life or our kids would have to leave us for a better life. So we essentially, we didn't bite the bullet, but we made the sacrifice so our kids wouldn't have to, just like yourself.
Right.
So that's the hardest thing, is leaving home. You know, I mean, you can always visit, but I mean, in the time that I left, since we arrived the 2nd of April, I've lost probably 4 family members already. Like, you know, grandmothers and uncles, people I couldn't attend their funeral, people who I grew up with. But this is the choice, this is the sacrifice we've had to make. So it's difficult. It's a difficult road. However, on the other side of the coin is that our kids will have opportunities, and they have opportunities that they would never have back home. They really would never have. I mean, they go to amazing schools, they have amazing education, and I mean, they're so well taken care of here. There's no threat to their lives like in South Africa, and there's no discrimination like in South Africa. So that's the challenge, some of the challenges, but the benefits outweigh the sacrifice for sure.
What about the opportunities? I know that you already got these 2 jobs, man. Just keep mentioning it.
I'll give you all my tip. I'll tell you everything you want to know. Any questions, I'll give you everything.
What kind of opportunities, apart from the college, you found here?
So because I'm a native English speaker, it gives me an unfair advantage. Also,
that's an asset that you already have, and it's just natural.
It's a natural thing. And I've always been sort of inclined. So guys who are engineers typically are not sales oriented. So like I said, I was naturally able to do both. So that's given me a little bit of an advantage, that I'm able to explain engineering eloquently. So when I was studying global business management, I got lucky and I got a job with a college with Conestoga, and I worked in the engineering department. So I was responsible for coordinating the capstone showcase, where the engineering students display their projects to the people from industry. So typically engineers can't explain well to people who want to see an audience, because I mean, engineers are technical.
Right.
So what my job was to do was to help them explain the engineering projects in a way that the average man in the street would read it and say, hey, I want to attend this capstone showcase to see this. And that's what I did. So a lot of arranging the event, and, you know, pizzas and this and that had be done, but it was more to take the beautiful engineering and to explain it to the world. So that was my responsibility. Then when I finished that, I was recruited into I applied and I was accepted into the Sales Lab program. And that's what really opened the doors, because I mean, Nelson, like you know yourself, the stuff that we learned in Sales Lab are like, it's different from reading it in a book. I mean, you read things in a textbook and you learn in a way, but being taught it in like one-on-one sessions, Sales Lab made all the difference. I couldn't even speak properly before this, and it helps. It helped. The coaching and stuff really helped. So that's the opportunities. I mean, this would have never happened in South Africa.
That's nice, man. I also had the chance to work for the college in 2 different departments. I used to work as a communications assistant, and I also work as a social media ambassador. So that kind of gave me the opportunity to grow my network. And that's actually something that I keep practicing, and try to meet new people, try to get connections with the people who actually love chai.
And who doesn't love chai? First of all, let me tell you, your chai is amazing. I drank it. It's incredible. Buy the chai.
So, thank you, man.
So I'm of Indian descent.
Yeah.
So it's probably 250, 300 years ago, the British needed to grow. They colonized South Africa.
Right.
So there's a few places in the world: South Africa, Mauritius, Trinidad, Jamaica. There's a few climates in the world where it's perfect for growing sugarcane. And at that time, there was a massive boom in demand for sugarcane. So the British decided to grow sugarcane in my home province, KwaZulu-Natal, Kingdom of the Zulu. And unfortunately, the local population, it was difficult to engage the whole local population into work, because it was difficulty. So what happened was that the British brought the Indians from India to South Africa, and some of them left, some of them stayed. My ancestors stayed, and here I am. 300 years later, South African Indian. By the way, there's 2 million of us back home.
That's nice because you don't have the accent, but if you can see him, you can actually blend with the Indian people naturally, right?
Yeah. So my family, my ancestors are from Bihar. They are from the village of Bihar. We haven't been there, but it's like a beautiful ancestry. And we are still back in South Africa, we are extremely Indian. We celebrate all the Indian festivals, Diwali, everything. We fast, we practice Hinduism in our religion. We're super proud of it. I mean, you can even see this is my Lakshmi string. We are like authentically Indian back home. We're very proud of our heritage, but we sound different.
Yeah, India is a huge country. It's actually a civilization, right?
Yeah.
You can find them everywhere.
Oh yeah.
Maybe I have some Indian really.
Maybe you know. I think the beard is a little bit Indian, yeah.
No, I don't know. Maybe. And what advice would you give to someone who is actually interested in doing this journey, coming to Canada and start over?
So I can tell you two quick stories.
Okay.
I think it'll be very valuable because these two stories have never been told together. They're two stories that haven't been said together. It's my personal philosophy about my life. It's how I've been able to do the things that I've done, and it's what I teach my kids. So, have you heard of Kobe Bryant?
Yeah.
Famous, one of the best basketball players of all time. This is his first story. Is his story. So, and it's the approach that I take with my life. So his approach to basketball and with everything is the Mamba mentality. So professional basketballers in the NBA typically work out twice a day, 2 hours at one session and 2 hours in another. So they work out for 4 hours a day. Kobe Bryant used to get up early in the morning and he used to get in 4 2-hour practices. So 2 hours rest, 2 hours rest, 2 hours rest. So 8 hours a day. So on day one, his peers would do 4 hours of training, he would do 8 hours of training. Day 2, they would do 8, he'd be at 16. Day 3, they would be at 8, 12, he would be at 8, 16, 24 hours. So what happens is that over days and over weeks and over months, the gap in skill between him and his peers just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And after a while, it reaches a point where his peers are unable, it's impossible for them to even catch him. He's so far ahead in every single facet of the game. He becomes a legend and he becomes a myth. And that's one of the main things I teach my kids in my approach personally, is to outwork your competition. That's the first one. The second rule is by Roger Federer. Now look, I'm not a basketball fan I admire the work ethic.
But you're playing basketball?
I used to be a cage fighter professionally.
Cool.
Yeah. I competed for many years.
Okay.
I admire the work ethic of athletes. Roger Federer, greatest tennis player of all time, living legend. Mm-hmm. He has this unique distinction of having won more than 80% of his one-on-one matches. It's unheard of, especially against the top talent in the world. Again, this is my personal philosophy I've adopted. So he's won more than 80% of his matches one-on-one, which made him a living legend, the greatest of all time. But when they examined his matches, he only won, in terms of points, slightly more than half his points. So in the games that he played, the thousands of games he played, he would on average win 55% of the points, and his opponents would win only 45% of the points. So he didn't win by a big margin. I mean, it's unusual to expect that he would dominate the best in the world. He only won by slightly more than half. On the flip side, what that means is that he almost lost more than half. And the distinction, this will come together in a second. When they did a study of the mentality, the study was about what makes a difference between the top 5% of tennis players in the world and the top 25% of players in the world. What is the difference? Is it diet or is it training or what is it? They found that the difference is that the top 5% of players, one of them being Roger Federer, is how they approached defeat and setbacks. So even though Roger Federer lost almost half his points, his approach was this. He'll take a shot, he'll miss, okay, on to the next one. He'll take a shot, he'll get it, okay, on to the next one. The mentality of the top 5% is they never let setback or failure slow down the next shot. Coming back to Roger Federer said that when he explains this principle, he said that what makes a champion is his ability to make a mistake or stumble and move forward. So what I teach my kids is that every opportunity, give it your best. It may not work out how you expect, but whatever happens, move on to the next one, move on to the next one, and keep on moving forward. And with those two rules, that's how greatness is made. And that's how I do it. And that's two stories.
Great.
The first one is outwork the competition. The second one is don't let obstacles slow you down. On to the next one, And that's it.
Thank you, man. Thank you for sharing your story. You're killing it. I think I will say, yeah. Yeah, maybe next time we can do this interview having a cup of chai.
Yeah. Also, a cup of chai.
Anything you would like to add?
I'm so grateful to be here. I'm so grateful to be here with you, Nelson. Thank you for having me on this amazing show. We have to have some chai after this. And more than anything, I'm grateful just to be on your show and for you to trust me enough to be here.
Thank you, man.
Thanks so much, everybody. Thank you, guys. See you in a sec. Chat soon. Bye.